I first felt the call to the priesthood when I was 9 years old. And so I saw the wonderful example of my parish priests, and I thought, I'm not worthy of this. No, I can't listen to music. I can't read Sports Illustrated. I can't watch baseball because priests are different. And that's true. Different in a certain sense. Now, that perception was greatly shaken in 2001. So I went to Mount Angel to begin my seminary studies. And shortly after I entered that fall, I was having lunch, and all of a sudden it dawned on me, I better look up. And I saw the mass of about 200 other seminarians there. And I almost wanted to giggle, because I thought, what a motley crew. We have guys in that room who are just out of high school. We have some who are widowers, some who are originally from Guatemala, Mexico, the Philippines, Canada, some who are doctors, some who are engineers, and some who are everything in between. And I thought, Lord, is this the priesthood you're calling these men to serve? They're very ordinary guys. And so I chuckled because now, 16 years later, some of these guys are doing marvelous things. But nonetheless, what is it that would inspire these men to do it? Maybe in the past, to become a priest meant prestige, power, wealth. That's all gone now. So ultimately, what motivated, these men that I looked up at to lay down their lives and follow our Lord? It's because Jesus looked at them and showed mercy. Now, this, of course, is the motto of Pope Francis, which is in Latin, it is miserando autque eligendo. So by having mercy, one is chosen. And now that passage is taken from the Venerable Bede's homily on this passage that we've just heard from Matthew's Gospel, Matthew 19. In that Jesus looked at Matthew, he had mercy on him and chose him. Now, as I looked up in 2001 to look at this motley crew of guys who were maybe going to become priests, and I started chuckling. This doesn't make sense. In the same way, Jesus chooses a tax collector. It does not make sense. Tax collectors were hated by both the Romans and also the Jews. The Jews felt that collecting taxes meant that they were, in a certain way, directly supporting Caesar, who considered himself a god. There's only one God, and it's not Caesar. And so tax collectors were hated, especially the Jewish people. And yet Jesus chose a tax collector to bring his mercy to them. And of course, that's a bit of a chuckle. And even more so is that Jesus eats with tax collectors and sinners. Why? And I think because even for Pope Francis to call those on the periphery of society to come and encounter God's transformative power. That Paul in his second letter to the Corinthians says, my power is made perfect in weakness. So it's almost like God is going to radiate his mercy through the person of Jesus through those who have encountered mercy, those who have been transformed, those who are in need of the physician, and in turn are servants to the great physician, capital P. And even as I looked upon that motley crew in 2001, I also look at this group here and how different we are, how unique. That there's not a homogeneity among this group, but each one of us has also encountered God's mercy. Why in the world are we going to spend half an hour here together? Only because we've encountered mercy and in turn to share that with others. That just as Matthew encountered mercy and was chosen, each one of us is the same. And in turn, we are supposed to go out and share this good news to those who need to encounter the divine physician. Now, it's one thing for words, but it's also our example to say, I have been transformed, you have been transformed, and to say, okay, to encounter the profound mercy of this divine physician. And it's not easy, just as some of we chuckle at our own lives. How can this be? And yet, we look at the example of the great saints, even St. Matthew, as people who encounter mercy, and it's almost the only thing that they can do is in turn to show mercy to others, to bring others to our Lord. And so let's look to the example of St. Matthew, who was shown mercy and in turn to to be chosen to bring mercy to others. And in turn, as we have encountered our Lord in His Word and His Eucharist, to in turn show mercy and that others may encounter the profound healing power of the divine physician.